Ohio as cancellations continue to mount.
If you're willing to take a risk, there are some unbelievable travel deals out there right now, like round-trip tickets to Florida for $68. We'll have information on how you can get in on the deals. Also, meatless burgers. Can we tell the difference? We're going to do a live taste test.
And Machine Gun Kelly is going to let the rest of the world in on Cleveland slang. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New with Betsy Kling and Jay Crawford.
Hello again, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Betsy Kling here with Jay Crawford. It is once again 5 o'clock, and we have new information to tell you. Northeast Ohio now has its 4th reported case of the coronavirus.
And that leads off our top headlines this hour. Governor Mike DeWine announcing that a 53-year-old man in Stark County has tested positive for the virus. Now, this is significant because this is the first local case of community spread. Also, Fuchs Mizrahi School in Beechwood is closed for the rest of the week. It is being deep cleaned, this after a visiting rabbi from Israel who spoke at the school 11 days ago tested positive for the coronavirus. And finally, the World Health Organization has officially declared the coronavirus a pandemic. Monica Robbins will be along in just a minute to tell us exactly what that means, and also how the number of coronavirus cases compares to the number of flu cases here in Ohio. And also, we've learned within the last hour that President Donald Trump will address the American people about coronavirus concerns. That will happen tonight in prime time.
But first, as you can imagine, the cancellations are really beginning to pile up in and around Cleveland and Northeast Ohio, including next week, St. Patrick's Day in Cleveland and in Akron. Drew Horansky joins us now with what kind of impact this is going to have. We just keep getting more and more. Literally, the inbox just keeps flashing.
Well, these are the things that kind of bring us out of our hibernation, as you guys know, in Northeast Ohio, the St. Patrick's Day parade. But this isn't the only place it's being canceled. Of course, there's been news that it was canceled as well out of Dublin, Ireland, Chicago, Boston, and now it is going to be canceled in Cleveland. And the mayor confirmed that news at a press conference this afternoon today with the parade's director saying that they just couldn't continue, kind of caught in the middle of this, knowing that people are disappointed over this news but would be mad if they went forward with it. Doctors saying that this is one of those situations where, as you see, people are in close proximity to one another, within 6 feet of each other, which they said today is kind of the distance to keep in mind, and that they simply couldn't proceed.
This isn't the only big event that's being canceled in Cleveland. The Cleveland International Film Festival, which is a huge deal.
That was the other shoe dropping today, the
Yeah.
International Film Festival. And of course, this is always a big event here in Cleveland. This was in fact supposed to be the last year at Tower City, so a sort of symbolic one at that. That news came out today as well, and the mayor said, again, this is something that, you know, they have control over, that we can take control and cancel some of these events and possibly have fewer sick people.
To give some people some context here, over the last 5 years, this film festival has attracted over 100,000 spectators, so that is going to be scrapped as well. What about private events like Playhouse Square? What's next for them?
So that question came up today. What about Playhouse Square? What about churches? What about movie theaters? The mayor said today that he's going to stop short of telling people what to do about those, but really leaving it up to them to process whether or not they should be making decisions about that. Of course, Jesus Christ Superstars this weekend at Playhouse Square, other big events happening around town.
All right. So it's impacting every facet of many people's lives right now.
Well, and one last thing to mention, the economic impact question certainly came up today, too. And the mayor answering that question said, you know, I'm not even going to think about that at this point. We're just going to make these decisions, and we'll probably be crunching the numbers.
We have some raw numbers on that coming up in a little bit. They're staggering.
Yeah, it's actually next. So thank you very much. Appreciate
There's your segue.
it. Yeah, we do appreciate that very much. And of course, we have lists of cancellations as they're coming in. We're updating everything on our website. You can find the latest WKYC.com/coronavirus. Now, on to your feet at 5, and we start there with the economic impact of all of this that it's having on Northeast Ohio. The numbers are estimates, as Jay mentioned, but it does give you an idea. The 14 MAC tournament games that Cleveland hosts every year, it brings in roughly $14 million. That event has been closed to spectators.
Yeah, and that's not all. The governor also announcing that he plans in the next 24 to 36 hours to issue an order banning large gatherings. Since that time, the NCAA has gone ahead and decided that they will limit their basketball games to essential staff and some family members. The impact of the tournament games on the greater Cleveland area, which was supposed to host first and second round games next weekend, they will still host them, but the economic loss expected to be in the $8 million range.
And that's just the beginning, because as we mentioned, the Cleveland International Film Festival, Jay told you, more than 105,000 people attended last year. And it's a 12-day event, remember. Now, according to the film festival, it brings in millions of dollars into the city, with additional big money spread across other areas around Northeast Ohio.
All right, 3 News senior health correspondent Monica Robbins joins us now. Monica, we mentioned at the top of the show that the World Health Organization has taken the step and declared this officially a pandemic. For our viewers that may not know what the official status is and how that's different from an epidemic, please explain.
Well, a pandemic is global. An epidemic is regional. That's the first thing you need to know. And the definition of a pandemic is just a global outbreak of a serious new illness that requires sustained transmission throughout the world. We have more than 118,000 cases and more than 4,000 deaths involving 114 countries. And this is not a word to spark fear. It's a definition. And thanks to air travel, it's no surprise that this would definitely qualify sooner rather than later. But just because it now has been named a pandemic, it doesn't need to change what we need to be doing about it, and that's aggressively fighting with what we know works. Hand hygiene, social distancing, everything we have been telling you all along.
Right.
Well, one of the hardest hit areas initially in all of this, the Seattle area out in northwestern part of the country, and specifically a nursing home was kind of like, you know, the epicenter of this big outbreak, and a lot of deaths came out of that. Today, Ohio's governor started to address that topic, the nursing homes and that very fragile elderly population in there.
And Governor DeWine is actually following CDC guidelines.
Okay.
That's exactly what he's doing. And I spoke with the COO of Menora Park, which has 800 residents, one of the largest in the state. They too are following those CDC guidelines. Their facility is protecting them by canceling group activities. They've asked family to refrain from visiting, with the exception of hospice cases. They've also asked residents, what they're trying to do is maybe use FaceTime or Skype to talk to their family members. Anyone entering the facility, they're getting their temperature taken. They're also being asked about travel, and they're asked to log in, so just in case there is an outbreak, they'll be able to check back with these people where they've
Quickly
been.
before we let you go, we know that the flu in the United States alone has killed over 20,000 people this year. 31 deaths so far from this virus, the coronavirus. How do the numbers in Ohio stack up? How many cases, active cases of the flu do we have compared to the 4 now diagnosed cases of the coronavirus?
In Ohio, 16,000 cases of flu, 8,500 hospitalizations, and in Cuyahoga County alone, 19 flu deaths. And you compare that to right now coronavirus, we've had 29 deaths nationwide. 19 flu deaths in Cuyahoga County, and we've had 2 pediatric deaths in the state of Ohio.
All right, very good, Monica. Thanks. We appreciate it. For some more context, too, on this, the last time that a pandemic was declared, you have to go all the way back to 2009. That was the H1N1 virus, or the swine flu. That actually worldwide claimed many more victims. But here in the United States, there were 61 million cases of swine flu. 1 in every 5 Americans caught the swine flu, 12,500 deaths. You can compare those numbers again to the coronavirus, just over 1,000 cases and now 31 deaths nationwide.
That's specifically here in the U.S. Well, tonight at 5:30, Dr. Kristen England, an infectious disease specialist with the Cleveland Clinic, will be live in studio. She's going to be answering your questions about the coronavirus. You can post your questions for our specialist who's coming in on our What's New Facebook page right now. Again, we have our What's New Facebook page.
Okay, right now, time to check other stories making headlines this hour. And I see Sarah Shookman has made her way to the news desk. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, guys. Well, it seems like coronavirus is touching a little bit of everything right now. If you haven't gotten that message yet at home, there is some good news, though, if you haven't finished your taxes yet, because taxpayers might be getting an extension to file this year. The IRS is considering extending that April 15th deadline as a way to plug the hole in the economy left by concerns over the coronavirus. coronavirus. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin told the House Appropriations Committee today that he would recommend pushing it back. Now, there's no word yet on how long the extension would be or who exactly would be eligible. Well, Bernie Sanders acknowledged last night's overwhelming loss to Joe Biden and his canceled Cleveland rally in some comments this morning, while claiming that he's winning the ideological debate and performs best among younger voters. Sanders says he's losing to Biden on the perception of who's best able to beat President Trump. Senator Sanders said he is still looking forward to his one-on-one debate with Biden on Sunday. Back home, Savannah James is making sure the girls in her wolf pack feel like queens on prom night. LeBron James' wife has been mentoring a group of 25 girls from the Akron Public Schools since they were in 8th grade. And this year, she partnered with Dillard's to give the girls dresses, shoes, and accessories all for free as part of her I Promise makeover event. Savannah says she looks forward to this event every year, and gosh, you know those girls in Akron do too. Such a big decision, getting all those things organized, and to have some celebrity help in that, always got to be fun.
Yeah.
That just gives me chills.
I know.
I think
Right?
it's just such a neat thing. It's just very, very cool of her to do.
Such a special day in any girl's life, teen girl, for sure.
One they'll never forget.
Yeah.
Sarah, thanks. Next on What's New, Jason Fraser continues his trek through Northeast Ohio towns. He's in Medina today to check on an iconic site, but also something new going on there.
And Stephanie Haney's on deck with Clicking in Cleveland. Steph, you're talking about Machine Gun Kelly.
Well, you know he's from Shaker Heights, right? So he sat down with Vanity Fair and is helping the rest of the world figure out just how we talk here in Cleveland. Also, Tony Grossi returned to the air today. We'll have what he said on his debut.
Interesting. Matt, how's the evening commute?
Well, not too bad. I think some typical slowdown, especially downtown as you get towards the 480 interchange. But a couple accidents on the off-roads causing some problems. This one in Bedford Heights along Libby Road. We've got Warrensville Center causing some backups right at the intersection there. Another accident just east of Medina as you get along State Route 18. That is as you're heading eastbound. Some problems there, and a live look at our favorite construction site on Route 8 looking okay, travel okay in and out of Cuyahoga Falls and Akron. We'll be back with a look at that forecast coming up.
All right, Stephanie Haney's here to tell us what's clicking in Cleveland. You had me at Machine Gun Kelly.
We're going to get to Machine Gun Kelly here in a minute. First, as we have that additional case of coronavirus confirmed in Stark County, the governor's recommendations yesterday are expected to become an order within the next 24 to 36 hours, and people are talking about his approach.
We can
do
that.
DeWine has been saying that we shouldn't panic and that he's taking rational action to stop the coronavirus from spreading in Ohio. But not everybody is on board with that. We have some people saying that this is just over the top and he's actually causing panic with these recommendations and the soon-to-be order to keep crowds out of big events. DeWine, however, is not backing down with this. He is saying that the goal here is to stop deaths. Some people, however, questioning methods on the other side, saying that why aren't we there yet with closing schools K through 12? And people are wondering what makes schools different from large events and colleges and those things happening remotely. So we are talking about this in our new Facebook group. You can find that at facebook.com/groups/3what's new, and you can join us there and be a part of that conversation. All right, moving on to what's happening in the radio world. ESPN Cleveland's Tony Grossi is back on the air as of this morning. Grossi was suspended, of course, as we know, for being caught on a hot mic 2 weeks ago when he referred to our Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield as a derogatory term for a little person. It is no secret that those two have not gotten along from the beginning. Grossi was anti-Baker since before he was even drafted here. This obviously crossed the line, though. Grossi called that mistake his fumble on the Really Big Show today, saying the experience has been humiliating, traumatic, and a learning experience. And of course, at the time, he did apologize to Little People, Good Karma Brands, the Cleveland Browns, Baker, and anyone else affected. All right, now we're going to get to our hometown guy from Shaker Heights, Machine Gun Kelly. He's doing his part to help Cleveland slang get explained to the world in a video for Vanity Fair. He started off with Sweetest Day, which we all know about, but literally nobody else celebrates. And by the way, he's not a fan.
Someone just woke up in October and was like, this is a holiday, because I have a girlfriend today.
Can't say that I blame him, he's got a good point there. All right, for those of us here who don't even know about it, Cleveland also has a pretty legitimate public transit system, but we don't call it the train. This is what we call it.
The Rapid. The Rapid is the train. We've had some weird times on the Rapid, but also a great time. Like, everyone goes on the Rapid when I want to go downtown for St. Patty's Day.
I personally prefer the trolley, which is free, by the way. And if you're a fan of Coke or Pepsi or Dr. Pepper or whatever, you'll appreciate this one.
Pop, don't start this argument with me. Don't get mad when I say I want and be like, it's soda. It's mother pop.
It feels very strongly about that, yeah. I am totally a pop person, by the way, always. Jay, Betsy, how do you feel?
I'm going to go with pop, because that was...
Yeah, or you get the wrath of MGK.
Jeez.
Don't call it soda around
Actually,
MGK.
because I've lived all over, every time I move and I say pop in the Northeast, they look at me like, what are you talking about? What do you want? And the Sweetest Day thing, absolutely. The rest of the world has no idea what it is.
They don't. They're missing out, though. Let's just celebrate love.
Right.
We like it.
Definitely.
Good year.
Thank you so much, Steph. Appreciate it. All right, it is time to take a look at our forecast. Matt, we have had some very calm weather today, which is always good news for this. Even saw some peaks of sun out there.
Yeah, a little bit. The brighter skies this afternoon. Not too bad, but big changes tomorrow.
Right.
Word of the day.
Perspective.
Perspective.
Oh, that's an easy one to get in there.
Perspective.
That is. If only I
Roll that
loaded
in.
the satellite picture in advance, that'd be great. Let me run over there real quick. No, we'll fit that in somehow. Perspective. All right, temperatures. Look at the difference. Gosh, I could start with that word. It makes so much sense right now. But we've got a lake breeze. Welcome to spring, everybody. Lake water temperatures running around 35 degrees. You get a cold air dome that develops out over the lake. You get the warming of the land, and that cold air expands. And look at the difference. Downtown, 39 right now. We're still in winter. You get down towards Akron, Ravenna, Medina, though, and we're already near 50 degrees. So this boundary sets up when you have light winds that don't help to steer everything. The lake kind of takes over, and that's what we've got here this evening. So temperatures downtown after sunset will actually rise a couple degrees, and we'll all kind of even out in the 40s. And you can see that lake breeze very evident setting up, a good 20 miles so offshore. We've got the warming wind down to the south, cooler off to the north. But as we look at the bigger picture, this really puts things into perspective because we've got the colder air off to the north. Are we not ready for that? Are we not ready for the... There
all
it is.
good.
All right. Fantastic. You can see, though, we've got the colder air across the Great Lakes, but it's warming everywhere else. We've got the warmer out towards the west. This is our pattern tomorrow as we tap into a southeasterly breeze, kind of southerly at times, but we ought to warm things up. But until then, we've got stubborn clouds all across the Great Lakes. I don't see these going anywhere tonight. A couple sun peaks. We've had the brighter skies, but these clouds going to stick around. A lot of low-level moisture in place. But our next system arrives later this week. System from the north, system to the south, going to combine, form an area low pressure. That brings us some rainfall to the area as early as tomorrow evening, and then especially into Friday morning. So let's take you hour by hour through the forecast. There's our stubborn clouds overnight tonight. Temperatures hugging the 40-degree mark through your daybreak hour. A nice Thursday, though. Remember, I mentioned that wind shifting around to the south. Look what it does to our temperatures. We get some sun peaks throughout the day, some scattered high veiled sunshine, I think. Temperatures, though, I think low 60s tomorrow afternoon. Ought to be a nice return to spring. Should make it all the way to the lakefront, especially later in the day as we increase that wind. Notice the rainfall arriving on radar as we go into your Thursday night. Friday morning, we start in the 50s while you're sleeping. Front goes by the time you're up. We start to cool things down. Friday looking cooler, but at least we'll have the sunshine. And a quick look at that weekend system we've been tracking. It looks as of right now, everything going to head down to the south. Something we need to keep an eye on, though, just for some snowflakes in the forecast, perhaps Saturday evening. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast, 61 tomorrow. We do turn cooler over the next couple days, but an early preview next week shows a decent warm-up midweek with temperatures bouncing back into the 60s, perhaps for multiple days. Betsy?
Our little spring fling continues.
We're flirting with it.
It's like we're already there, and then April comes in. Wahaha. All right, well, he just came back from his destination wedding, but, you know, that doesn't mean he's going to stay in-house or relax. No, he's out the door again, and Jason Fraser is on the road.
Jason, you're in Medina today. What's going on out there?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, you know, I absolutely loved my time here in Medina. We hit up Castle Noel. We ate really well. And right now, I'm joined by Tim from High Voltage Karting. Good to see you, Tim.
Jason, thanks for coming out.
So I understand you can do a bit more here other than karting, right? You can eat. You can also play some other games.
Absolutely.
Right?
We have High Voltage, which has been here 5 years. But in November, we just opened up what's called Foundry Social. So it's a full kitchen, full bar, duck pin bowling, old school video games, an arcade wall, pool, bocce, cornhole, everything to just, it's mainly for people to just come out, have fun time.
And why is Medina so important to you guys?
Medina's great because of the people. I mean, you have not only the, like you, some of the you've mentioned, Castle Noel, the people in the square, Main Street Medina, but the people of the area are spectacular, and we're close to anywhere, whether it's Akron, Cleveland, wherever, Northeast
Tim,
Ohio.
I appreciate you. Coming up for you in just a little bit, I'm going to show you much more about what I learned in Medina, and then I'm going to actually get in the car. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Very good. I was hoping we would see you behind the wheel, and that's coming up. Jason, thanks. We look forward to it. Here's what else we're working on for you at 5:30. If you're not afraid to cash in on some great deals because of the coronavirus, we can send you, Betsy, to Florida. Literally, we found a round-trip ticket, pre-fees and taxes, for just over $1. Whoa. That's a deal.
Ooh.
That is a deal.
Stay tuned. You know, there are those days when we're happy to be in the studio and we're seeing everybody else that's out and about. But this is one of those days when we're here in the studio and it's like, oh, I wish I was out and
I'd
about.
much rather be where Jason is right now.
Yeah. Jason Fraser back with us, giving us a full tour of all there is to do in beautiful Medina.
Oh, wow. Look at this. Jason, go to it, my friend. Looks like you're about to have some fun.
But, you know, it's a really hard day at the office, Betsy and Jay. But you know, this is part of the reason why I absolutely love my job. I want to give a special shout out to Dan from the Medina Convention Visitors Bureau, who certainly was a wonderful leader in taking me all around. And I had a chance to also hit up Castle Noel, where we got a little bit of new information. Did you know that they're opening up a tiki bar? And that's not all. Take a look.
What is this place?
This is Castle Noel, and here's our owner, Mark Claus.
Hey, Mark, good to finally meet you. How are you?
So you're new in town, you're exploring all the cool new stuff, and you had to come to Castle Noel.
Exactly, I did.
You know, we give people that opportunity to bring their families and experience joy and make memories.
Don't you feel like you're falling over?
And it encompasses all ages. That's the 29th time you've done it.
Listen,
are you done yet?
You know what? It's only because I keep having so much fun.
We are at the Farmers Exchange. It's a new complex here in Medina, and we're here going to talk to John, the new owner of the Farmers Table.
This place is a multi-use building. The building was built in 1904, burned to the ground multiple times. We've kind of turned it into a mini West Side market. Hyper-local is what we're going for with, you know, pierogies of Cleveland, Boyart's Greenhouse.
Here we have the Medina Toy and Train Museum.
Oh, I love trains. Let's go.
It has all kinds of trains, but they have other toys. They have planes, cars, boats, dolls, doll houses.
So, what's your favorite part?
This is the layout here. I designed it. It was built for the picture windows downstairs.
It's just a wonderful little museum, and everybody will enjoy themselves when they come up here.
So if you have not made your way down to Medina, you definitely need to do that because the people down here are incredibly friendly. And you know what? I unfortunately have to go right now. I'm going to zip away here and go on a little go-kart. Bye-bye, Betsy and Jay. See you later.
Go, Jay, go. Be careful.
That's the best part of his day right now.
Listen
I guarantee
to him.
it.
I'm going to tell everybody something. Jason Fraser is a giant kid.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He's a child trapped in a man's body.
He's so funny.
But what better way to go through life than like that?
Absolutely.
You know?
He's a lot of fun to work with.
Pretty cool. Coming up, we told you about these unreal travel deals. I mentioned that it was like $1.38 for the flight. Well, there are fees that are
Which
involved.
takes it up to $943.
No,
what
actually,
a bonus.
you can go round trip from Cleveland to Fort Myers for under $70.
That's crazy.
Details ahead.
All right, well, Gronk might be making a career change. What the former NFL player could be doing next.
And plant-based diets, they're all the rage. Will Betsy and I be able to tell the difference between a real burger and a meatless burger?
Jay is so excited.
I am guaranteeing I can tell the difference.
He can't wait.
I do. Can you hear me? Great.
Hi, I'm here at Channel 3. Good.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New with Betsy Kling and Jay Crawford.
And happy Wednesday, or as I like to call it, halfway to Friday.
Yes.
Welcome back to What's New. I'm Jay Crawford, along with Betsy Kling. A lot going on today.
It's been a very long week, and it's only Wednesday.
I know. We've got a long way to go. Airlines are knocking down prices. They're doing this because of the coronavirus fears, and young people are cashing in. NBC talked to one girl who booked 3 trips this summer. Right now, you can get a round-trip deal to Atlanta, LA, or Tampa for less than $120. It's less than 60. Actually, it's less than 60 if you're part of the Spirit's annual Fair Club. And we got online today. This was amazing. We found a flight for $1.86. One way, Cleveland to Fort Myers. You throw in the fees and the taxes and all that. On Frontier, you can do this round trip for $63.80. You couldn't drive it.
Right.
It would cost you more in fuel to drive to Fort Myers.
Cost you that
and
much
back.
to drive to Cincinnati.
I hope not. Well, with the lower gas prices now, maybe you could.
And the interesting thing is a lot of the hotels are starting to roll out some deals too because they've had so many cancellations. They want to try and make that up. So if you're planning a family trip and you're thinking we're going to do it anyway, now is a great time to make some plans. Well, let's get a check on what else is making headlines right now with Russ Mitchell, who joins us live from his desk in the newsroom. Hi there, Russ.
Hey, Betsy and Jay. Good afternoon, everyone. The first day of full testimony is over in the trial of an Akron man accused of killing 9 in 2 separate house fires. Stanley Ford showed little reaction to witnesses as they described what happened about the fire that killed Linda Lewis and his girlfriend. Prosecution believes Ford set the fires because he was upset with the couple, who were his neighbors. The trial is set to take several weeks, and Ford is facing the death penalty if convicted. Movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has been sentenced to 23 years in prison. He addressed the courtroom today, implying he was a victim of the Me Too movement. In all, more than 80 women have accused him of sexual assault and harassment. And Bernie Sanders says he will stay in the race for the Democratic nomination for president, despite another big night for Joe Biden. The former vice president picked up 4 wins out of 6 states voting. Sanders won the North Dakota caucus, and Washington state is still too close to call. Of course, the big primary here in Ohio is set for next Tuesday, St. Patrick's Day. And Betsy, I'll see you at 6.
All right. Thank you, Russ. Well, now it's time for our top talker. And we know you have a lot of questions about the coronavirus. We've seen them on our Facebook posts. So we asked Dr. Kristen England, an infectious disease specialist with the Cleveland Clinic, back to answer them. You just mentioned the last time you were here, you gave me a flu shot. And so it's all good.
And you've been healthy since then.
There were no
flu
problems whatsoever. I have not gotten the flu. But, you know, I think a lot of people right now are just kind of waiting and going, when's it coming for me? That's kind of the attitude a lot of people are taking. And we want to get to some of the questions that people on Facebook have posted to us. Tristan Sanchez asked, how do we know when we start having coronavirus? And is it different from other diseases?
So coronavirus is going to be very similar to other viral infections such as influenza. So it's important for people to have gotten their flu shot because then they'll have a less likelihood of having influenza. And then if they do get symptoms, we'll need to worry about them having coronavirus at that point in time. So typically you'll have a fever, you'll have a cough. As the virus is able to progress down into the lungs, it can cause a pneumonia, which can make people feel short of breath and have a more productive cough where they bring up more colored phlegm. So those are generally the indications that you've got something that needs to be evaluated.
And that pneumonia has been the thing that's the elderly population's having the big problem
Correct.
with. Okay.
Correct.
Tracy Felina Carlson asked if airborne or other vitamin C supplements help prevent it.
That's a good question.
So unfortunately not. There's no evidence that there's anything that we can do other than good hand hygiene, cough etiquette, all the things that we've talked about to try and prevent it. Also, there are no current treatments out there at this point in time. There has been some concerns that unfortunately some companies are trying to make some money during this time of public concern and are advertising that they have a coronavirus treatment. That's not true. Don't believe
All
this.
right, very good. Next question comes from Gary Pennington. He wants to know how the coronavirus compares to SARS, MERS, H1N1 at the same stage of the outbreak.
Sure. So at about this stage, SARS and MERS were much less widespread. So they only affected for SARS, it affected about 8 to 9,000 people, and 1 in 10 died from that virus. For MERS,
are these numbers U.S. or
worldwide?
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So for the SARS virus, there were about 3,000 cases and 1 in 10 died. So I'm sorry, 1 in 3 died. So they had a much higher rate with the MERS virus. When we look currently at our coronavirus, it is much more widespread. We have hundreds of thousands of cases and
taken
more
off like
to come.
wildfire.
And depending upon where you look, we're seeing much lower rates of fatalities or deaths with that.
I'm glad you went there because this is our final question. The mortality rate here in the U.S. as of now is at 0.28%. Worldwide, it's much higher, Doctor. It's over 3% from the latest figures.
Right.
Is it just a matter of time before the U.S. numbers mirror the worldwide numbers, or will we not approach those kind of numbers here?
I don't think we're going to get anywhere near those numbers. When we look at, say, what was happening in China, when people were coming in very ill, that was when they were getting tested.
Right.
So,
and by that point, it's too late.
Exactly. So people were coming in very, very sick, and they were trying to figure out how to save these people, and they didn't know what they were fighting. So it was a much more difficult. They were testing less people. So now that we're going to be able to test a lot more people, frankly, our fatality rate or our death rate should go down.
Okay.
So if you had a chance to hold somebody's hand and tell them something about the coronavirus for the next month here in Cleveland, what would you tell them?
I'm going to tell people to not panic. Let's just be smart. Be smart about the things that you're doing. When you go out in public, I've stopped shaking hands. I've stopped hugging my patients, but explaining to them that it's really important. I'm trying to protect them.
Very good.
If you're not feeling well, stay at home. And if you're not feeling well, call your doctor's office first. Don't just show up at the clinic.
Very good.
Thank you very much,
Absolutely.
Dr. Kristen England. Appreciate it very much.
Great information.
Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to change topics now, away from the coronavirus for just a little bit. Stephanie Haney's here with today's Pop Break.
We have a lot of other things to talk about today, too. Of course, we're going to talk about what happened on last night's Bachelor finale. But before that, singer Billie Eilish, she's a known advocate for body positivity, and she has a loud and clear message for people who think they can tell her what to do. Here's what she said in your Pop Break.
Billie Eilish is once again taking on body shamers. The singer kicked off her Where Do We Go world tour in Miami last night with a powerful message to people who can't help but share their opinions. The video shows Eilish stripping down while taking on criticism she's faced since becoming famous, saying, "If I wear what is comfortable, I am not a woman. If I shed the layers, I am a slut. Though you've never seen my body, you still judge it, and judge me for it. Why? You do you, girl." Gronk is on the move, to the WWE that is. The former tight end for the New England Patriots has reportedly signed a contract to start wrestling for the league, possibly as soon as March 20th for WWE SmackDown. When it comes to the coronavirus, Queen Elizabeth isn't taking any chances. The 93-year-old monarch has stopped shaking hands to help prevent the spread of the deadly virus, in line with health officials' recommendations. Most recently, the Queen of England simply kept her hands to herself while meeting with the Sri Lankan High Commissioner. Can't say we blame her. And the Bachelor finale had everyone shocked when the villain of the season turned out to be Pilot Pete's mom, Barbara. After he made his final choice, she was not having it.
Chris, he's going to have to fail to succeed. Chris, all his friends, all his family, everyone that knows him knows that it's not, it's not going to work.
She says after Maddie told her she wouldn't accept a proposal from Pete, that was it for her. Maddie handled the tough situation with class, and Peter had the final word.
I love Madison, and that should be enough.
Oh, the look on your all's faces says literally everything.
I've never seen anything like that on the show.
You should have seen the reaction on social media. Twitter was lit up.
And I'm guessing they're taking Peter's side.
Oh, Peter and Maddie's side.
Of course.
Maddie really
they know
handled
them.
it with class. Absolutely. It was really
And
a
that's
shock and tough to watch.
That's tough to deal with. I mean,
It's tough to
everybody that he knows says it's not going to work.
I smell a sequel. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
they
yeah.
are brilliant.
They bake in the
are
storylines. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. New at 5, if you want to know the best way to wash your hands, well, you go to the experts. We're going to go inside Gojo headquarters in Akron when we come back. Matt, how's that forecast holding up?
Well, we just never know this time of year, do we? So why don't we give the old Northeast Ohio wheel of forecast a spin? Let's see what we've got tomorrow. Snow, rain, another dust storm, who knows? 61 and sunny. Totally different than today. We'll explain what happens beyond this because we've got more changes coming up in that forecast.
I just have to say props to you, Matt, because yesterday you and Jason and Michael were talking about sprinkle chances, and I was like, no.
Well,
and boom, we had
They
sprinkles.
overruled the chief?
Well, no, they didn't overrule.
No.
We didn't exactly have rain in the forecast.
Yeah,
but
we
they
can't call it
definitely
rain.
were on
Yeah.
it yesterday, so props to you guys.
We had a couple raindrops. Oh, the sky is falling. No,
I
Betsy,
know.
listen, that's totally fine. Now, this weekend, snowfall chances, that'll be interesting because we've seen a flip in the models. We'll talk a little about that here in the forecast. But, winter's not over here. We typically get some snow from here on out. We're about 18% or more of winter left to go in terms of the snowfall department as it looks right now. So here we go. We've got colder air. That settled in yesterday behind that front, but the warm air already rebounding. This is the setup all spring where you get the warm air that fluctuates north and south And we tend to be right on that dividing line where we go warm, cold, and that is really what we're setting up over the next week and a half to 2 weeks as it looks. And right now we've got our own kind of micro boundary going on with the lake breeze, which we typically get in the springtime when that water's cooler. It's warmer down in the south, so if you're joining me from Mansfield over to Akron, you're sitting comfortably near 50 degrees right now. Meanwhile, a trip up north on 71 or 77 will bring you into the 30s as you hit downtown. What a difference it makes. But everything kind of evens out overnight tonight as the air masses kind of relax. We'll be in the 40s downtown. I think our temps go up. Look at the clouds, though. Just kind of a quiet, cloudy night tonight. And a really good look at that from our GOES 16 satellites showing the high res of these kind of stubborn clouds just kind of sticking around. A lot of low-level moisture. But eventually those will scour out as we bring a southerly breeze in here. System off to the north, system down to the south. These come together to form an area of low pressure out in the plain states. That will bring us some rain tomorrow night and Friday morning and some colder air on the backside of things. So as we go hour by hour through your forecast, clouds are with us tonight. Everyone down near 40 degrees, I think upper 30s in spots. No precipitation tonight. Nothing tomorrow morning either. We get a nice push of wind out of the south. I think we'll have variable clouds tomorrow, some sun peaks. But temperatures back to that spring-like level. Should be up near 60 degrees as we go into the afternoon. Rainfall arrives tomorrow evening. It'll be scattered at first. Then we should get a pretty decent line of rain in here early morning hours Friday. That early morning rush hour may have some wet pavement. Look at temperatures, though, from the 50s back to the 30s, and we have a cool Friday on our hands. That storm system this weekend, here you go. Looks like it's fading down to the south. We'll have to keep an eye on the track of this. If this does make it off to the north again, we'll have some snowflakes. I don't see much in terms of impacts. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. Cooler over the course of the weekend. We look mainly dry outside of the system we're watching. And then next week, I think we've got some spring-like temps in the forecast, Jay.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Well, you're probably sick of hearing us say this, but it's a public service. We're trying to help. One of the most sure things you can do to try to fight off the flu or the coronavirus is wash your hands, and wash your hands. It's true.
Gojo Industries is the company that makes Purell. They are headquartered in Akron, and as you can imagine, they are really busy right now. So we dove into the vault to bring out this report from last year, and you'd be surprised at the science of hygiene.
You're gonna wash your hands and rub for a good 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Paying attention to the backs of your hands, in between your fingers, your thumbs, your fingertips, because those are common missed areas. And after you hit that 20 seconds, go ahead and do a good thorough rinse.
There you have it. Gojo Industries is all about using the best science available to keep germs off your hands and surfaces we touch. One of their newest products is Purell Healthy Soap. I'm going in. My dirty hands. I learned here that soap hasn't changed much in decades, until now. Product development scientist Mandy Copeland helped develop a new soap with what she calls clean release technology.
It works better than your typical soap. It's 90% bio-based, it cleans and rinses faster than other soaps.
New products then get passed to clinical scientist Kristen Green.
What does a clinical scientist do? I focus mostly on the efficacy of our products, just making sure that we're practicing fairly and putting products out there that won't hurt anybody.
Clean. So don't forget fingernails and rings.
Yeah.
Make sure that's
Rings.
done. And you're probably seeing at the bottom of the screen, we have all of our iAlert closings, and every now and then it may flash with the Just In tab. This is our webpage, okay? WKYC.com/closings, and they're all listed here. Anything that you see on the screen, plus everything that has come in before and after, is listed here. This is constantly being updated. So if you want to see where there are closings and when there are closings, there's a lot coming in for Election Day specifically. Literally, this list is growing. We just found out Akron Public Schools is now going to be closed on Election Day, as well as Strongsville. So some big districts are coming in, and just keep an eye on WKYC.com/closings.
Coming up, can Betsy and I tell the difference between a real burger and a meatless burger? We put it to the test live next.
I've never even had one of these.
I haven't either.
The other burgers. All right, and a local couple put a new twist on their wedding. The bridesmaids swap bouquets for something super cute.
So onion tomato, then I did our special sauce from the restaurant. So just to kind of have a touch of the restaurant in it. But
very good. Welcome back to What's New. You can feel the tension in the studio, can't you? It is Wellness Wednesday, and today we're talking about plant-based diets. They are huge right now, big trend. It has many people eating meatless burgers.
Jay's favorite.
Not yet.
Well, it's definitely a healthy option, but be sure you know what you are buying before you dive into the diet.
So certain meatless burgers contain just as much saturated fat, calories, and even more sodium than your regular meat burgers. However, other options are emphasized with made from beans that contain more fiber to again help reduce risk of heart disease, as well as lower calorie and lower fat content than regular burgers.
So it's, I guess it's just what you're looking for.
Right.
If sodium isn't your thing, then I don't know that you might as well go with the real burger. Whether you never eat meat or you're just not eating meat during Lent, meatless burgers are a popular option. So Hunter Toth is here. Did I pronounce that right?
You did.
Okay, great, awesome. He's here from Hook and Hoof, and he's here because he's never done this before. No. You created your first meatless burger for Betsy and I.
I did, yeah.
What?
I feel special.
Wow.
I really do. I feel special.
And all Jay is talking about is he only wants the one with meat. I'll take the new one. Let's see what's going on.
So I wasn't sure if you wanted to go blind or just go.
We're gonna go blind, right?
Yeah,
I think that's what we should do. So he's
so
cut
I
them
know
into
which
halves.
ones are obviously.
Now one is a store-bought meatless.
We have a store-bought Beyond Burger. You have the one I created today.
Okay.
And then we have my house burger from the restaurant.
Okay. Do you want to? How do you want to try?
Wow.
How do you
Okay,
want to
but
start?
first, if we can get in close, let's see if Gianni can get up close and you can look at it. So we each get half, obviously, or at least a bite.
Do you want to each try this one
Sure,
first?
okay.
There you go.
Let's try that one.
So I'm looking at it. It looks a little odd to me. It doesn't look like real meat.
This is delicious.
Okay. This one definitely is not real meat. There's no way that's real.
And I never said it was going to go that way, so I just wanted to be
Do
clear.
you think that one's real?
I don't, but I do like it. It's
I mean,
delicious.
it's not bad at all. But okay, next option.
Okay. What kind of
Looking
cheese
at
is on
one,
this,
This
too?
one looks more like real meat to me.
I used aged provolone on
And this
that.
is an aioli?
Yeah, we call it our special sauce. It's I can't give that away. Sorry.
Okay, this one is not real meat, but again, it's flavorful.
Oh, it's very good.
And it could easily be an alternative. Right? Last one.
Look, he's all excited.
This one is real meat.
You can tell it's real meat because it fell right out of the bun.
From a carnivore caveman, this is real meat.
You can squeeze it down a little bit.
Yes. You can tell.
Because they're brave eating on air.
And they're white.
All right, I'm staking my meat lover reputation that's real.
Is this where I tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The real one?
You're correct.
I got it right.
That's the real meat.
Yeah.
Which one is the one that you made that's meatless?
I made your second one, so the
that?
one in the middle.
Okay.
That was delicious. Now, why did that one taste different than, obviously there's different recipes, but what did you add that really you think kicked it up in the burger level?
So I actually added a little bit of blackening spice. I added some soy sauce, Worcestershire.
What's the main ingredient?
TVP, which is textured vegetable protein. It looks a bit like fish food. And you mix it with a hot liquid. So I use hot vegetable.
That's Jay's other favorite
That's
food.
my first time making it.
Tastes like fish food to me. No, I'm not just saying this.
Yeah.
I do think that the second option, yours,
It's so good.
was far closer to the what I consider the best burger you can get.
Thank you.
Real meat.
Thank you. Well, it was fun. I mean, it has brown rice, it has mushroom, onion, garlic, so it has...
I mean, it fried up, like...
Yeah, it caramelized in the pan really well. So I did it all in cast iron pans.
I like it.
You did a great job. He had never made a meatless burger before. I think you should market that or at least offer that at your restaurant.
Yes.
Well, I did make a few extras just to see what people think.
You can call it the J.
Okay, enough.
Call it the Betsy. Call it the Betsy.
We'll
call
be
it
right
the real
back.
burger the J.
We'll be right back.
Worth the watch next. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hey. We have to be ready for boxes off the top. I can, Brooke. Can you hear me?
Peanut butter whiskey. Hey, Brooke, how are you? Good.
I've got you. Do you have me, like Chick Stars Mike?
We'll talk about it later. Yes. Trump is set to deliver a federal response. The nation here in Northeast Ohio is rapidly changing and evolving tonight.
It would probably help if I turned it on. Talk, talk, talk. Hello, hello. Hello. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
All right, you may remember the story last month of a Geauga County animal shelter that went up in flames. Well, 2 of the surviving pups actually replaced flowers in a recent Northeast Ohio wedding. Bridesmaids carried the puppies down the aisles instead of the traditional bouquets of flowers. And I think that is
adorable.
A tremendous idea.
I wonder if the bridesmaids argued over who got to carry the puppies. That is such a sweet thing. I've seen babies come down the aisle like that, but oh, the puppies, that's a great idea. Look how happy everybody is, certainly. Well, what's new is going to change over to now what matters most.
Russ and Sarah start now.
Community spread. A 4th patient has tested positive for coronavirus. Why this case is a game changer. And coronavirus cancellations. The St. Patrick's Day Parade, the film festival, which events are off and which will put a limit on fans. Plus, the financial impact of losing these big events. Test kit shortage. We dig into concerns about the number of kits and faulty components to see how Ohio stacks up. And Bernie's big news, what the presidential hopeful says about his campaign after a night of heavy losses. And record gift, what's inside the largest individual gift ever given to the Cleveland Museum of Art.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
Breaking news this evening, we now have the first community spread case of coronavirus here in Northeast Ohio. A 53-year-old man from Stark County who has not traveled and has not had any known contact with another coronavirus patient is being treated this evening at Mercy Medical Center in Canton.
This afternoon, Governor Mike DeWine announced the guidance he issued yesterday about mass gatherings will soon become an order in the next day or so. And just moments ago, Cuyahoga County announced it would suspend jury trials in common pleas court.
This is the White House is mulling whether to discourage Americans from any non-essential travel to Europe. And President Trump is set to deliver a primetime address to the nation this evening on the federal response to coronavirus. And good evening. The situation here in Northeast Ohio rapidly changing and evolving tonight, and we are committed to keeping you informed.
Our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, is here again to deliver more facts, not fear, on the spread of the virus.
We're going to check in with Monica in just a moment, but first, we want to get you caught up on the new developments today, and we have team coverage for you. Mark Namick is looking at the impact of the cancellation of events.
But we begin with Andrew Horansky. The St. Patrick's Day Parade, the Cleveland International Film Festival, both called off because of the virus. And Drew, there are some other changes also in the works tonight.
That's right, Sarah and Russ. Today, the mayor, Frank Jackson, declared a state of civil emergency in the city of Cleveland. Although that certainly sounds ominous, it is going to give the city better tools, he says, to respond.
Cleveland now follows Boston, Chicago, and even Dublin in canceling a tradition. This year, there will be no St. Patrick's Day parade. Doctors saying it posed a health risk, and organizers saying they had little choice.
A little bit out of our hands just in the light of the issue of public safety, but yeah, there's a lot of disappointed people out there.
So when you're in a close environment, when you can't keep distances of 6 feet or more, you put people at risk.
This afternoon, the parties involved were at City Hall, where the mayor declared a civil emergency, giving him broad authority when it comes to making decisions on containing coronavirus. Next week, the Cleveland International Film Festival will also be canceled, with the mayor stopping short today of saying places such as Playhouse Square, movie theaters, and churches should follow suit.
We're telling people who are responsible for gatherings, consider it. And those who attend those gatherings, consider it.
As Ohio saw its first case of community spread, a Stark County man in his 50s contracted coronavirus without leaving the area. Today, Governor Mike DeWine announced nursing home visits should be limited to 1 person per day per resident, urging people to use discretion when it comes to their choices.
We should not look at this that the state's going to make every decision for people. If you're asking me right now, what should people do? I would say that chicken dinner you're going to tonight, don't go.
And as colleges and universities switch to remote learning, the governor has made no decision yet on whether to close K through 12 schools.
While back closer to home, the mayor stressed today again there has not been any confirmed case of coronavirus within the city of Cleveland. Of course, Russ and Sarah, they continue to keep an eye on that.
Okay, Andrew Horansky downtown for us. Thanks very much. Well, also happening tonight, limiting spectators. Take a look inside Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse today as the MAC tournament kicked off with just a few fans watching. Event sponsors across the board have been canceling those popular gatherings as a precaution to limit the spread of coronavirus.
Mark Namick looks at the economic impact of keeping people away.
The Greater Cleveland Convention and Tourism industry generates billions for the region annually. Concerns about the spread of the virus is already affecting spending.
But we're already seeing it here. Certainly a lot of high-profile sporting events are being talked about. But you talk to the hotels and they're seeing cancellations of large and small meetings, conventions, and just regular business and leisure travel.
Among those who typically spend money here are basketball fans, drawn to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse for college tournaments this month. Normally an economic slam dunk, the MAC tournament games will be played this year without fans. They spend $6 million annually on hotels, restaurants, and entertainment, according to a 2013 study by Kent State University. A figure tournament officials say climbs to more than $14 million each year when indirect spending ripples through the local economy. The arena's also hosting 6 NCAA games, worth $8 million to the local economy, the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission says. But late this afternoon, the NCAA announced it will follow the recommendations of health experts and the governor and play the games without a live audience. Gilbert says the region's tourism industry can absorb a temporary slowdown in business.
Travel and tourism is a phenomenal industry, and when it does well, it helps a great deal, but it's all about people. And when people have less in their pocket to spend, it has a big effect around the community. Yeah, the real point
is that these empty seats will translate into fewer dollars for real workers who work in the restaurants and the hotels. We reached out to the Ohio Restaurant Association, and they said it's too early to gauge the real impact, but they said there are 4,000 restaurants in this area, and they expect some of this to trickle down. Russ, Sarah?
All right, Mark Namick, thank you. There is a lot of stuff going on, as we've been telling you, and things are changing quickly with the coronavirus.
And our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, is here now to clarify some of those concerns. So, Monica, let's start with the World Health Organization and their statement today that COVID-19 is now a pandemic. What does that mean?
Well, it should have been called a pandemic a while ago, actually. So the definition of pandemic is a global outbreak of a new serious illness that requires sustained transmission throughout the world. We have more than 118,000 cases, more than 4,000 deaths involving 114 countries.